Have you ever wondered how a simple sentence like, "Please, sir, I want some more," could shake the conscience of an entire society? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful moments in English literature, From Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. But before we meet the brave boy who asked for more, let's talk about the man behind the story. Charles Dickens didn't just imagine the struggles of poor children, he lived them. At the age of 12, his father was sent to debtor's prison, and Dickens had to work in a grim factory to support his family. That harsh reality stayed with him forever, and he poured all that pain and anger into his writing. In Oliver Asks for More, we see the cruel world of workhouses and the quiet strength of a hungry orphan who dared to speak up. This is not just a story, but a powerful message on injustice, compassion, and the right to be treated with dignity. So let's start our journey into the world of Oliver Twist. Oliver Asks for More by Charles Dickens. Among other buildings in a town in England, there was a house for poor people who had no money and nowhere to live. This was called the workhouse. Now, the workhouse was a place where poor people were supposed to go and stay. They had minimum resources, and only the truly desperate would end up in a workhouse because the conditions were such that it was difficult to sustain for anyone in the workhouse. There was prevalence of child labor, so the workhouses were notorious at that point of time. Everyone knew about the cruel conditions that persisted in a workhouse. Oliver Twist, our protagonist, was born in a workhouse. His mother, a young woman, lay ill in bed. A doctor and an old woman stood by her side. She lifted her head from the pillow. "Let me see the child and die," she said. So we see that we are introduced first to Oliver's mother, who is an unnamed character in the story. And she is not well, she is ill. She is waiting to see her child. She says that, "Let me see the child and die." So she knows that her death is near. The last wish that she has is to see her child. "Oh, you mustn't talk about dying yet," said the doctor. "No, dear," said the old woman, "you are too young to die." So the doctor and the woman who was accompanying the doctor, the old woman, they were trying to give her some strength, telling her that you are too young to die. You should not speak like that. The young woman shook her head and held out her hand towards the child. The doctor put the child in her arms. She pressed her cold white lips to its face and then fell back. "She's dead," said the doctor. So she embraced the child and then she fell back, and the doctor declared that she is dead. "Yes, poor dear," said the old woman as she took the child away from its dead mother. "Poor dear." So the old woman looks at the child who has just been orphaned, and she looks at the child with a lot of pity, calls him poor dear because she knows perhaps he will have an unkind future. It is difficult to grow up in such an atmosphere of neglect. "She was a good-looking girl," said the doctor as he put on his hat and gloves. "Where did she come from?" "She was brought here last night," said the old woman. The doctor commented that she seemed to be from a respectable place, so he wanted to inquire where she came from. And the old woman, she answered that she was very ill. She was taken in the workhouse just the night before. She was lying in the street. She had walked a long way and her shoes had holes in them. Nobody knows where she came from or she was going to. So no information has been found about the woman. No one knows where she came from because perhaps she was taken in a state when she was too unwell to say anything. And no one knows where she was going to. So there was no way to find out who the woman was, and at the same time the identity of the child also remained unknown because no one knew the woman. The doctor raised the dead woman's left hand. The usual story. Now this is very important. That makes us aware of the conditions of women in the Victorian society, because he refers to it as the usual story, as if this is something that is very common. I see that she has no ring on her finger. She wasn't married. Good night. So, this child is an illegitimate child. The doctor sees no ring on the girl's finger. So, it is an indication that the child is illegitimate. He went home to his dinner. The old woman sat down on a chair in front of the fire and began to dress the baby. So the doctor went back, he went home for his dinner, and the old woman started nursing the newborn child. She dressed him in the very old clothes used for babies who were born in the workhouse. So the clothes were tattered and old, and these are the only things that were there for the children who were born in workhouses. The child was an orphan, born into a world which had no love or pity for him. So, as a poor workhouse born, he was a child who was destined to be neglected by the entire world. And the woman knew too well that this child will be in a world which would have no pity or love for him. Now, this event right at the beginning of the story makes an important commentary about the conditions of poor in the society. It also brings to notice the condition of women in the Victorian society. What was it? What can we deduce from these events? We will find that out in the next video when I analyze the first part of the story. So stay tuned for further exploration. If you like my work, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll meet you all in the next video. Thank you for watching.